Hey, so I wanted to make a quick video to show you kind of the path that I would probably go down as far as simplifying your is-leap um, exercise on exercism. So one of the things I wrote was that the brackets here are not necessary because of the order that the operators are dealt with. So I'm going to remove those, and every time I change things, these tests will run again. So as long as it keeps green, then everything is equivalent and working properly. So I haven't broken any of the functionality. So I'm just removing the brackets. Whoops, that was a little too many. So removing the brackets, and then at this point, so I'm in PHP Storm, and it is indicating that there's a couple of things that can be extracted. So it's saying we can extract else's here, and what it does essentially is split workflows up into separate pieces. So if I say split workflows here, it eliminates the else clause, and it just becomes an else here. If I do it here, it does a similar thing and splits things up that way. So I've done that twice now, and the code is still working, and now it gives me another suggestion that I can do the same thing down here. So I'm going to do that, and now what I'm noticing is inside of this if block here, I've got this conditional that returns true, and this one that returns true, and then I've got this return false. But if I got rid of this, it would fall through and I would get the final return false, which means that maybe we're assuming that a year isn't a leap year by default. So if I delete that, there is no functional difference in the code, and so everything is still working as we want it to. The next part is I can pull this out of this outer conditional because it's they're a little bit redundant with each other, right? So this one, if the year is divisible by 400, we return true. It's definitely has to be divisible by 400, or by 4 if it's divisible by 400. So I can move that down, and we've essentially not changed anything. But now I get another new suggestion here, and I get another suggestion here. So this suggestion for this one is saying if we've got an if condition followed by another if condition with a true, and there's nothing else going on, then these can be combined with an and so I can merge those together. And what it's done is taken these two constructs here and anded them together to return a true. And sorry, just a bit of reformatting there. And then I've got a second conditional that returns true. And then I've got my return false. Whoops. And I've got some kind of keyboard problem. There we go. All right. So there's so this looks simpler to me, right? We're saying if it's divisible by 4 and it's not divisible by 100, then we're going to return true. If it is divisible by 400, then we're going to return true. And if none of those things are true, then we're going to return false. So the way I look at it is we say, okay, well, here's two different conditions that both return true, and I can combine those two conditions with an or. So I can take this entire piece here and wrap it in parens, and then I can take this piece here, and I'm going to copy paste for right now, but I'm going to put an or in there and return true. And at this point, this piece is redundant, so I'm going to delete this set. And now PHP Storm is smart enough to figure out, hey, we've got a return true inside of a conditional, and we've got a return false outside of a conditional, which means this piece is now what we want to return. So I can just return that, and now I've got something even simpler, and I believe I can remove these brackets or these parens as well. No, sorry. Yes. I only want those. So I have the first part is if it's divisible by 4 and not 100, or it's divisible by 400. If any of those things are true, then it's a leap year. So we've now adjusted it down to a single line in the conditional, and all of the tests are still passing. And then the other thing I can do, I guess, since it's a return now, I don't need that outer set. I do need the parentheses here because I need that entire chunk to be evaluated in one piece. This part already is essentially the same as a mod 4 built into there as well. So anyway, hopefully the video here helps explain a little bit about kind of the steps I would go through for simplifying the code and kind of removing some conditionals and combining others so that this expression is kind of what we end up with. So anyway, hope that helps. Thanks.